Alrighty, folks, welcome to the Self Reliance Festival live stream tonight. I'm super excited to have friends with me on this live stream. I've got Kiri from Thunderhill Farm. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
And we got Sam Swanson, our favorite musician. Say hi, Sam.
Hola, everyone.
Hola. All right, guys. So Self Reliance Festival is coming up fast. If you have questions or things you want to hear us talk about, just put them in the comments area and we'll go from there. I will wait on my disclaimer for the SOE channel till there's a little bit more people on the SOE channel because they always filter in about it takes a few minutes for everything to warm up. They're always like, what's going on here? Because he's been doing all those shorts, and then they're like, who are you? Why are you on John's channel? So
it's been an adventure watching the lives.
Yeah, totally. Okay, Kiri.
Yes,
what was your first Self Reliance Festival? Which one was your absolute first one?
My very first one was actually just last April.
Okay.
We came and attended in April and then came back in October and did my first vending.
Awesome. And Sam, when was your first one?
That would be the same one where I met Kiri and Glenn and a bunch of other friends as well.
All right. And when you went to that one, like, what were you expecting versus what actually happened?
Oh, wow. I expected to kind of feel like an outsider. I look, a little different than most people. And I walked in thinking, oh, no one's going to want to talk to me or accept me here. And it was the absolute opposite. I made so many, Sam and Glenn and I camped next to each other. And I literally just been saying to Glenn, I'm glad that we're here, but I don't think I'm going to meet a lot of people. And 5 minutes later, Sam and I are talking music like we've known each other for 20 years.
Yeah,
we went deep. Yeah, I didn't expect to meet anybody. Like I feel like an outsider because I'm more of like a right-brained artsy person. And so I was like, I don't know what I could bring to this, but I love the idea of self-reliance, and I think prepping is rad. And so I kind of went, when I got there, I was a little bit nervous, to be honest. And I just said hi to John, and John was awesome. Like, we talked the whole weekend, and yeah, I walked away with a bunch of local, regional community, we'll say, in New York, where I was living, and I just moved out myself. But yeah, it was amazing. Like, met a good solid, I feel like, at least 10 friends,
Mm-hmm. Did anything happen at that first one to change either of your trajectories? Like, was there anything that happened and you're like, you know what, now I'm going to do this differently? And if so, what was it?
100%. I had just recently gotten out of the hospital before SRF and had kind of a wake up moment due to one of John Willis's morning motivation videos. And then I came to SRF and had so many conversations about what I wanted to do with the farm and where I wanted to take it. And there wasn't a naysayer that I talked to, and got so many ideas. And coming home from that, I looked at Glenn and basically said, this is what I want to do. I want to make this farm a reality. I want to make it a community. I want it to do all these things. And I came home with a landslide of ideas, and that's what I've been working on for the last year.
Yeah. How about you, Sam?
Yeah, it spawned a whole thing for me because I had finished a record back in 2000 when the wonderful, lockdowns happened and everything. And so for me, I thought to myself when I went, it opened this door, like, maybe this is like the beginning of finding my tribe, and maybe like this could be an avenue for art in a way. So for me, I'm still kind of unraveling all the possibilities of that part of it. But one of the big takeaways that I got from you guys, because I started listening to your podcast at the time because you were on Spirko's podcast talking about Self Reliance Festival, and the big message was, the lone wolf, and you can't survive if you're the lone wolf. And I am such an introverted person and lone wolf, even though I can act very social in a social setting. I'm like a homebody at heart, and so I immediately my big takeaway was I have to get out of my comfort zone this year and start to make community around me. And that's what I've been doing. I've been actually going to more of these kinds of meetups and building local community around me with even local politician, like up and coming, like libertarians and things like that. So that was my big thing, is making community and getting out of my comfort zone.
Are you still operating in the Ozark region too?
Yeah, I'm currently stationed. My bus is parked in the Ozarks at my parents' homestead at the moment. And I have been working on North Carolina as another hub for me for music, for playing covers live. The Finger Lakes is where I was, but I'm still going back there a couple months this year. And then I'm trying to plant seeds in the Ozarks as well. So I'm kind of in between 3 different regions right now, just figuring it out, trying to pivot into something. I don't know. The world is wide open right now for me. It's an adventure. So
if somebody wants to book you, how do they do that?
how do they book me?
Yeah.
My website is samswansonmusic.com. I that's probably the best way, but if it's slave to servant, that's a whole nother kind of ball game for the band. It's just harder to get a band together, so it would entail a lot more for that. But yeah, like you can reach me at samswansonmusic.com. There's a contact form there, and you can email me if you want.
So guys, I'm just saying, if you're doing a festival or have an event or a gathering, you can hire Sam to play.
You should.
And I mean, if he's not already booked, which I noticed that your dancing card is very full for the next 2 months, but there's still some windows there. You can totally do that. And then, Kiri, what did you start doing with your homestead to make it like start generating money?
So we have a 400 by 60 foot enclosed orchard that my super husband built, and we have filled it with literally like every fruit and berry plant that will grow in our lovely zone 3B up here in northern Wisconsin. So I grow everything organically from seed, and then I take what I grow and I try to do different twists on sauces. It's something I've always done and gotten good feedback on, and now I just do it in a larger production and volume. Hatch chilies and raspberries was really the launching sauce for us. So really working full cycle and making sure that it's pure from seed to sauce.
And how's that working with your customers? Do they love it? Are they excited about it?
Our joke is, if I can get people to come up to the tasting bar and try something, I've got a sale. It's, so that's been fantastic. And when I'm in person with people, I get great feedback. The website has been very educational and a lot more marketing deep dive, because it's very hard to sell a flavor visually. So that's kind of stuff that I'm learning, but we're going to continue to expand out into farm stand eggs, more regional farmers markets. I've actually got a show this weekend that I'm going to, and then I've got several places in our community that carry my products. So, just a little bit of passive income coming in from that also.
Okay. So what are you guys looking forward to most about the one that's in like 3 weeks, by the way? 3 weeks.
Oh, seeing everybody.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I feel like the group, at least my communal group is expanding, and I'm excited to see all you guys and more. So
I'm also excited. I'm taking Sunny Pazuika's class, and I am super excited for that one. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I really hope he does that class somewhere else someday so I can take it, because I should totally take that class. But so it isn't the speakers that got you to come this time. Was it the speakers that got you to come the first time?
Ooh.
It was a package. I feel like I was excited to learn some things. For sure. I was excited I even brought a notebook. I was intending on taking notes, but I ended up talking to Kiri and Glenn and all these other people the whole time, and I didn't take any notes. So.
You took note of things. You just didn't take notes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I was really excited to honestly meet you, Nicole. I've been listening to your podcasts for a couple of years, and your pantry knowledge and the way you operate your homestead has been a massive education for me and really inspirational. So to actually be able to like meet you in person and shake your hand and thank you for all the work, that was a really big deal to me.
I hear that, and I just think about what my house looks like right now since the construction. I'm like, sometimes we're not all together. We'll just put it that way.
Oh,
But
I'm sitting in a room of chaos.
yeah, I'm giving, I think 2 to 3 pantry presentations this year. Like it's the thing everybody wants me to talk about this year. I don't know why this year is pantry year, but I know why. Because grocery prices are like, "Beep," and now
Oh,
people are right. They're like, oh, we can source in bulk if we know what we're doing, and then you can like have savings in the long run. So yeah, I hear your Mexico raspberry sauce is really good on pork loin, according to Rich.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you going to be at KSL?
Yes, I will be at KSL. I think I'm going to get lucky enough to be next to Homestead Medical and Grumpy Acres and all the
Oh, that'll be
SRF.
way too fun.
Yeah, and rumor has it Glenn's going to give me a break so I can come and catch your talk.
Oh, okay. That's one of my pantry talks, as a matter of fact. Yep. Sam, are you going to that one, or are you gigging elsewhere?
Where's this?
Kentucky Sustainable Living is in 1 week.
It's in Bowling Green.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's any. Well, how far is that? What?
That you're maybe 2-hour drive from where you are now. I would
Okay,
guess 2.5.
That's I'm assuming that's weekend,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, it's a weekend.
I mean, there's a chance that I might be able to pop in.
Yeah,
I have to look at everything, so I got to look at
all
what
the
I've.
things.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I like literally his dancing card that he keeps. I call it a dancing card, but it's the schedule of where he's playing, guys. And I guess dancing card sounds really girly when I say that. So sorry for feminizing you, but he's got like, these are all my dates. And then a week later, it's like, now there are more dates on this card. So
yeah,
that's been
yeah,
kind of fun to watch.
yeah.
Yep. No, Chase is glad you're going to be next to him.
I'm looking
Did you
forward
get
to
in the Homestead medical class?
Glenn got into the Homestead Medical class for SRF.
Yeah.
Because of work things, I wasn't able to get the extra time off this time. So I'll catch him in October.
Yeah. Are you like showing up on Saturday for SRF or?
No, SRF, I'm doing Sonny's class.
Oh,
So
that's right. You're doing
for
Friday.
KSL,
Yeah.
for KSL, we're just driving in fast and driving back to Wisconsin.
Yeah. Have you guys found that since you like kind of tapped into this whole community that you drive a lot more?
Sadly, no. Glenn and I used to do Burning Man for 15 years. So driving 2,000 miles was a lot more intense. I'll take 12 hours. It's great.
I would say that I actually am probably in the same boat as you. Like I drive so much for my job, like which is going to play places that yeah, I mean it has ramped up a little bit this year because I'm in transition and kind of like moving right now. So, but yeah, I mean I'm a natural road warrior, so
Yeah.
Nomad Sam.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're my 2 nomads at the event. There are a few nomads there who come, and people forget, like we talk about underground networking, and people forget how important that role is because they sort of see nomads as kind of a flighty group of people because they're always traveling somewhere. But those are the people who pass the information. Like that's how you would get a letter. If the U.S. Postal Service stopped working, how would I get a letter from here to Wisconsin?
true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And if you think about what bards did in medieval times, is they traveled around and entertained people, but they were a very important function for bringing news and letters and all of those things. So,
Absolutely,
guys, you got to support your nomads. That's all I'm saying. So,
Nicole, what are you looking forward to for SRF?
everything. I'm in this as an event planner between now and SRF is a really uncomfortable time, right? Where it's like everybody has 1,000 questions and changes happen that you weren't expecting that you have to deal with, right? That's just normal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't handle that, you should not be managing events because it's just like there is no stopping it. The best part of any of these is once it starts, it's like a wedding, like you're going to be married at the end of it. So it doesn't matter what happens at this point, right? And we've had some pretty interesting things. So, like, once I get there, I'm like, okay, it's happening. It's actually happening. It's not like this big amorphous, scary thing where anything could fall out of the sky and like punch me in the face or something. And then for me, like the reason I do this, because this is a question I ask myself every night: why am I doing this? Um, it's because I get to see the people make solid relationships and connections, and you'll see like a switch go off where people are like, I didn't realize the world could be like this. I didn't realize I could do this for my future. And they walk out, and then, you'll see them next time because they want to come back to see all the people again. And their whole life is different. Like, we've got Alyssa's going to be on next week for the Tuesday live. She's telling her story of how her whole life has changed in a year, just because of, taking some steps. And so I think that's the part I like the most. I love, like, we have the speakers and I love the sessions and I learn a lot from them and they're entertaining, and you have to have that for people. But the funny part about the event is it's 100% like the best miles are from the relationships, which is not a surprise when I asked you what do you like most? Everybody's like relationships, relationships, relationships. Nobody's like, I really liked Joel Salatin's session on, homestead tsunami. It's like we all did like that. People were cheering in the audience, but yeah, it's all those changes. And Sam really clicked with the Willises his first time, which was interesting to watch.
I really enjoyed John a lot. It was a great time conversing with him. And I wouldn't, this is the thing, is like, going again, I just didn't think that, I don't know if, I don't want to sound weird, but like, I just kind of felt this, you know what I'm saying? Like, do I, and I think I do, it's really nice to find people, especially like with, going back to the lockdown situation, all these, the way our world is shifting, and it's great to know there are people out there that are trying to do for themselves, and not just for themselves, but by extension of that, like being stronger for their communities, and that are just not all about the system, that's so important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think a big surprise to me for my first SRF was really, it's like an intense business incubator. You throw an idea out in any group there and you are getting ideas from everybody. And did you think about it this way? Did you try it that way? Oh, you shouldn't waste your time on that shipping. You should try this printing. It's amazing the collaboration that happens in this community. And you never know who you're talking to, and you better listen to everybody, is my advice that I give to anybody going for the first time.
Yeah, you can't judge a book by its cover there. It's not like all the successful business people are in suits.
Yeah.
No, that's not how that works. And well, it's funny because coming in with a learner's mind to something like this, which I've been to a lot of these, and you would think, okay, well, I've been to a lot of them, so I don't need to do that anymore. Nope. I'm going to meet somebody who's going to challenge me no matter what. And what happens is they say something and you're like, oh no. And then something viscerally in you is like, I can't do that, or whatever. Like the little, what John would call the bitch voice starts talking in your head. And what I've learned is when the bitch voice talks, that's when I have to listen extra hard to what somebody's telling me, because that means I'm coming up against a perceived boundary that's probably not a boundary. It's probably one of my own making. And so I'll shut up. I'll get a look on my face where I'm like, it's like I'm clearly biting my tongue right now. But because of learning that, I've gotten a lot of really great just advice. And you wouldn't think advice matters that much. It matters a ton. Like, you can shortcut a lot of things with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The advice I've gotten from this community in the last year is everything. I've taken everything I've been told and doing what I can to just move it forward because it's good advice.
So I want to go back to this comment from Amanda. Welcome to the island of misfit toys. None of us fit, but we all fit together. And
Yeah.
the reason we do is that when I meet Kiri, I want to see her do well at what she's doing. I don't want to do what she's doing, though.
Right.
When I see Sam, I want to see him do well at what he's doing. I don't want to do what he's doing. But nobody is like judgy about it, right?
Right.
I mean, not that anything that either of you two are doing is something to be judgy about, but some people, they cannot get outside of themselves long enough to be like, oh, that's a really cool vibe that you've got going on there. That's a really cool idea or really cool project. And if that's your passion, you should go for it.
Yes.
That's why we fit together.
Yeah.
So I remember Amanda was really surprised when she was selling crystals and rocks that people just like bought the crap out of them. And I was like, well, they're cool.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever done that here before. So
I have a little dream board or inspiration board over here. And one of the things it says is, remember, the only competition is yourself.
Totally.
And I think that more people remembering that, just focus on yourself. No one is judging you or paying attention to you. They're worried about themselves.
Yeah. Oh, and here's your website.
Thanks,
Homestead
John.
Medical's on the job. He's going to get, it's Samuel Swanson Music, right?
Sam.
SamSwansonMusic.com, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just so it can get up on the text as well. That always helps. Well, a friend of mine, Amy Dingman, posted today that prepping, it feels like prepping has turned into a shopping list for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about that?
I could see it happening. I think the point where we're at now is we're trying to shop as little as possible. So we're in that weird shift of like, don't spend any money in the stores, let everybody else have it. We have enough here. But I do see a lot more people out in the world that thought we were crazy for the extra water and things that they would see. And now they're starting to develop the same habits of like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Just make sure you're good for a couple of weeks if something happens.
Yeah. I've embraced intermittent fasting this year in full. So I've been saving a lot on groceries.
With intention or just in areas where you don't find what you want?
Well, I feel it's been kind of healthier and better for me just to wait till 2 or 3 to like start eating. Like that's usually how I do it. I homeschool during the morning when I have the kids, and I just got off 2 straight months of homeschooling and I was exhausted. But then I'm trying to find time to work out, and so I don't know. I'm trying to find a balance for myself. It's not for everybody, but
yeah. What do you guys think about finding a balance? We always talk about that, and then we tell people about it, and then I don't know about you, but then I go work my butt off anyway.
There is no balance. If you are running your own business, there are no days off. There is no balance. It is what you do because it is what your passion is. It is what your soul drives you to do. And if it's not, then you're in the wrong job.
What do you think about that, Sam?
I think there can be balance. I don't know what balance means these days because I'm raising 2 children and homeschooling, and I feel like my role is I have a very busy season of what I do, almost akin to like a farmer. And it's like work hard, play hard kind of thing. And so I'll take my 6 months and just play gig after gig after gig and save as much as I possibly can. And then it's like, okay, I gotta gear up for homeschool season and all the other stuff I have to do and kind of incubate my next year's worth of bookings and work and creations and things like that. So
I sit here and there is a monitor here and I have a monitor to my right. And on the monitor to my right is a spreadsheet. And on this spreadsheet, I have a running list of what I've done and how many minutes it takes. and if the item is delegatable. And I'm not doing this with any like, oh, and by Friday I'll delegate all this stuff. It's more like I need to be honest with myself about what I'm doing that I say I cannot delegate that totally could be delegated. And
Yeah.
think about how that works with scaling. A, B, we're in critical path for the event, which means that it's just like all of the on right now. And it's also important to me to get exercise.
Yes.
And if I don't get exercise by the time I get to Self Reliance Festival, my lower back will be so out of whack that every step will hurt. Right. But if I just keep on my stupid schedule of exercise, then I'm absolutely fine. And so what I've learned, like in this latest round of critical path, because every other SRF I have like done that to myself, is like, today we have a 7 o'clock live, so I'm not going to be doing 7 o'clock workout. So at 2, I was like, I'm going to go row for 45 minutes. I'm going to, walk it off and then get back to it. So like what I've learned is you just sometimes have to walk away to make sure you take care of your health, because your business won't go anywhere if in your 60s you're not mobile anymore. Right?
Absolutely.
My rowing machine is literally right here. I have it right next to my computer so I can watch, YouTube streams while I row.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Sam?
Oh, no, I think working out is so important, and I hate working out, but I make myself work out, and it's better for people that don't want to do it to do it. Because if you love it, it's like nothing. It's just like cool. It's still good for you, but you're not challenging yourself, and it's really good for us to get like that. I don't know, 45 minutes of sweating in a day or whatever whatever you do. Don't you feel like when you do it, you feel like you can accomplish more? You feel mentally clear and ready to go, I guess,
Yeah, especially right now, because I've come to the conclusion I'm ADHD, and that's what they wanted to test me for in school, and mom wouldn't let them, but whatever. And so when we get when there's a lot going on, I'll get to this, what's the scatter mode, where I think I did a thing and I didn't do the thing, and then I discover later I didn't do the thing because some other thing got in my way. And if I go work out, like it's like a faucet turns off again. I'm like, okay, I'm back on Earth now, and maybe I won't burn the cheese. I burned the cheese today.
Oh,
I don't know if it didn't burn, but I was making cottage cheese, and it's like you heat the milk up to 80 degrees. You put in rennet, you walk away while it curds itself. And so I heated it up to 80, put in the rennet, forgot to turn off the stove, walked away, had a half-hour meeting, came back, and I'm like, well, that stove's still on. So it didn't scald it, but I'm like, I wonder if I'm going to get cottage cheese now. I'll know in about 3 more hours.
we just got our harvest right.
Yeah.
My second load, of course, did the bread load and then doing candy to help, pay for it. My second load just everywhere. Poured out the sides, and I was just like, okay, I get to clean it right away. Lesson learned.
And then you got to learn how to clean it.
I did.
I've heard candy explosions are hard to clean.
It wasn't fun.
Sticky stuff everywhere, right?
Yeah, well, crystalline. And the second you get it wet, it's good.
Yeah, when you get wet, it gets sticky.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those are life's little lessons, right? I walked down to get duck eggs today. So apparently I infected Tactical because he always lets the ducks out at the same time every single day. And it's part of his routine, and he just does it. The ducks are really mad when I walk down at about 11 o'clock to get eggs. And I'm like, it sure sounds like grumpy ducks are still in the coop, and they were, and they just came pouring out straight to the pond. And I was like, in Tactical, I don't think you let the ducks out today. Yeah. So there's a little bit of that going on here. We'll bring it back in after SRF. I actually have a 3-week turnaround for another event. So that'll be, it's fine. The other event's a smaller event, so it's a little less crazy. But when it's like you've got meals, you've got sessions, you've got vendors, you've got like special side. We've got a really cool thing going this time that Brian from the Lots Project is doing, where he's gonna man the creators tent, and then we're gonna ask for some of the speakers to schedule time that they can be there, and then other creators can come in and interview them during this session, right? We're doing
Awesome.
that on Vendor Row
Oh, that's
this time.
great.
Yeah. So there's
Like-
that. There's always something like that. Like, woo. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Keeps expanding. I mean, you're growing it beautifully.
I love doing it. So except for like right now, I don't love doing it, but I'll love doing it again in about a week when we get over the next detail hump.
After we get back from SRF, we're getting birds every week for the next month. First, we get our turkeys, then we get our chickens, then we get our guineas, then we get our ducks. And it's just going to be a birdhouse in here.
Yeah. How come you rolled it out like that?
Space and pacing, really, because it's also as beautiful. You know, it was 50 degrees here. It's still March in Wisconsin. I mean, we got snow last June 13th. So
Yeah.
I haven't even started seeds yet. And it's kind of killing me because I'm watching everyone else do it.
Oh, that's okay. It'll all work out, right? I didn't start my seeds till late, and so my seedlings are like a week and a half old now.
They'll be fine.
They are fine. They'll catch up. They, like I was like, okay, I know how to kickstart them, so it'll be fine. But there was a point it was a week and a half ago. I was like, this day shall not end without my tomatoes being in the tomato things. And then I couldn't find my seeds because I haven't unpacked from the construction yet, so I don't know where anything is. But I found the seeds that I had collected 2 years ago. So I started from those, and they germinated. And I was kind of like, hope they germinate.
Well, your tomato solution for your home is one of the smartest things I've ever heard ever. And I want to figure out how to steal it in our house, because I remember the day you said that, and I ran up to Glenn and I was like, do you know what Nicole does with her tomato plants? And he just looked at me and went, yeah.
Yeah. You should come look at it.
Well, I'm hoping that when I am a full-time farmer, I will have more time to travel and visit people and maybe come to your spring workshop if I'm lucky enough.
Yep. They're not that tall at the spring workshop, especially this year because I started them late. But yeah, I think like a really good time for peak tomato wall viewing is like from June to about August, unless I get the blight. But I figured out the aspirin thing from Jack Spirko on the blight, and now I haven't had blight issues. So yeah.
Yeah, we had no blossom end rot or blight problems using the aspirin this year too. That's what we hear.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, why would that work? But if it works, okay. Nobody really can explain it. The best explanation I've heard is that it basically stimulates the tomato to use its immune system or its defense mechanism against blight by exposing it to something that's kind of triggers that. But it's not actually blight, it's the aspirin. And then when the blight comes, it's more able to beat it back. Mine did get the blight. They just didn't. They just kept producing through the blight and didn't get the blight, quote unquote, that bad. So yeah. I don't know, Sam. Do you grow tomatoes or?
My mom and my dad do at their homestead, and that's interesting because I think they had an issue with blight last year.
Based on their geographical location, I would expect that they had the same blight we all have here.
Yeah.
So now you have a tip from just this conversation. Mom, Dad, go put aspirin in the ground by your tomato plants. Yeah, they should put them in the pots if they are starting seedlings. And I put like a half to a quarter aspirin per little seedling start. And then when I transplant them, I put 2 in the soil. What did you say?
For the tomatoes specifically is what you're saying, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Don't know why it works, but that was my. I have tried everything with the blight. I have tried a whey foliar spray. I have tried, like everything natural. Yeah. And, Dawn dish soap and like all of this other stuff. And it was just always like, nah, well, it's the beginning of August. This is when my tomatoes are going to die. And then, yeah. Last year I added shade cloth too, and that helped a lot in August. Because it gets so hot.
This year we have our first little greenhouse. It's like 12 by 24. And I'm very excited to put my peppers and tomatoes in there this year and really be able to get a better climate for them in general, because where we live is kind of in a valley, and 3B. So as much heat and sun as I can keep in there, the better.
Now tell us this, why would a person choose to live in 3B?
Because we didn't know amazing people in Tennessee. That is honestly the best line I can give you, because Glenn and I look at each other on a almost weekly basis now and go, well, if we have to move, we know where we're going. But his whole family is from up here. So I'm shirt tail related to everybody on our road for 2.5 miles in both directions.
Cool.
That's only like 16 people. So it sounds a lot more.
But that's not bad. That's not bad.
We had the opportunity to buy 7 acres of old family land on Linden Road, which is the family name. And the house that came with it is the house that most of Glenn's siblings' father was born in. So lots of family ties, and it's a 100-plus-year-old home that we're moving across the property this year.
Wow.
Because we need more projects.
Yeah.
We all need more projects.
Yeah.
That's just life, right?
Yep.
Nicole, how do you like Tennessee versus Oregon? As far as climate.
As far as what?
The climate specifically.
Okay, so the climate is very different than Oregon in that the humidity here in the summer is higher. So Oregon's actually quite humid in the winter when it's raining all the time without stop. So the things, I like them differently. The thing I like most here is that the growing season is so much longer. And then it doesn't usually like start raining and then not stop for 60 to 90 days, which it does sometimes in Oregon. But it does still rain here a lot. And so I get enough of the green influx, but I prefer to not be cold.
Totally.
And I just remember like it would be 40s, lower 40s in Oregon and raining, and you just felt this like to your bone chill that you don't feel at 20-degree dry Tennessee as much. Like it's cold, but like there's something different about that humid cold. And I know Kiri's just laughing at me about cold right now because she goes below the goose egg there. But we went below the goose egg here. We went to -5 this year. But yeah, but we didn't stay there.
The year we moved up north, up here, we had 3 weeks of -30 every day.
Oh man,
I went, what did I do?
Yeah. So I really I prefer Tennessee for a number of reasons, and that's why I've stayed here. Because I had lived in Oregon with the exception of some time in Germany and some other places. I had lived in Oregon for most of my first 33 years of my life. And then I got a temporary position in Tennessee, came out for 6 weeks and bought a house, went home, sold my house, moved out here. And it was just like, this is where I want to be. And what that means is that my Oregon upbringing, it was hard the first summer when it was hot. But I will say, having lived in Washington, D.C., it was not as bad as Washington, D.C. in the summer climate-wise. And then the people, the culture shock that I had was a culture shock for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
But I like here, things are just a little bit more open. So there's two things going on. People are more open about where they're coming from. And I see a lot more tolerance for difference here than I saw in Portland. So, which is not what you would expect. That's not what the narrative is, but that's just my personal, I'm the weird Oregonian who grows organic food and people think it's cute, and they're like, you're not from here, are you? And they're like, no, I'm not going to pretend to be, but I'll learn your ways and I'm interested in them, but I'm not putting whatever, glyphosate along my fence line to keep the things down. I'm going to use sheep for that. So, yeah. How about you? You went New York to here, right?
I went from Chicago to New York and was there for 12, 13 years. And now I'm kind of doing the Ozark thing at the moment. But yeah, it was a culture shock just going from the city of Chicago to like kind of rural upstate New York and central New York, and then down here. I don't know. I just like it here. I like the South so much, and I love warmth. I kind of have poor circulation issues too, so I like being in the sun all the time if I can be. It heats me up nice. But yeah, no, I feel like I'm supposed to be here in the South. I don't know if I can lay claim to one territory yet. I think it'll be a little while before I can figure that out. But yeah, I really like it here a lot. I think it is way more accepting. I think people are a lot more kind, to be honest, than the places that I'm from. Um, I mean, maybe some of it's fake, but I tend to think it's pretty genuine. I was staying at a campground in North Carolina back in November, and I was just like shaving in the bathroom there, and this guy was also shaving. And where I come from, like I don't know, we're not super friendly up north. Like people aren't just like, oh hey, what's up, you know. And the guy left the bathroom. I didn't think anything of it. He came back. He's like, hey, I was meaning to say hi before, but I didn't do it, so I'm saying hi now. And I was just like, well, that's nobody would ever go out of their way to just say hi to you while you're in a bathroom shaving next to each other, like in the north. So I don't know. I like the people here a lot.
Yeah, not only that, they'll think you want money or something. Like,
Oh yeah.
I last time I went to the Portland airport, we got stuck in a crowd, and you had to like the stairs for some reason were blocked off, so you had to go down the escalator, and it was sort of like this, like you have to all squish in.
Mhm.
Which in the South, you start making jokes about it, right? To each other, and people kind of chuckle. It's like, okay, we're all in this together. We'll go for it. And so I did that because I've been in Tennessee for 17 years. And the people like around me were like afraid to answer back, afraid to react. And I just thought, oh yeah, we don't talk to each other here if we don't know each other, because then you're expecting me to ask you for money or something. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Instead, I shall stoically endure the escalator squish.
Stoic endurance is a northern, I think, super sport.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I visited Maine, and that's a whole nother, like, if you know people locally in Maine, there's a lot of back and forth. But when you're a stranger coming in, it's not that they're not nice to you, but you are clearly not
Yeah.
one of them.
I felt like when I moved from Chicago to New York, the area that I was at, where I was campground that I worked at, it was so small and so tightly knit that it felt like it. I think the joke that my uncle gave me was that like you need to have like 3 generations in the ground in the graveyard there to
Yeah.
be, or something like that. So
Yeah, it was fun. Well, and I actually happened to be with some people who were locally accepted. So like I had an easier time of it, but then I was like, okay, I get it. Like I'm not just going to walk in and expect whatever.
mhm.
And fine. Now I know. So, I don't know. We don't talk about how much culture shock you can go through
Oh yeah.
in the US, and you just have no idea how different cultures are in our own country. But
I find that funny, like the topic of culture and how some people present culture like I like to be here because there's more culture. It's like, well, the South has culture. These different areas have culture, and sometimes I think the South in particular gets attacked for not having a culture, and it certainly does. And
yeah,
it's
multiple ones.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. And yet we all find a shared interest and get together and have a grand old time at these festivals. So that's the other thing is like I guess the other part I like about the uprising of homesteading, preparedness, self-reliance, like that whole thing, which some people think are two different things, but they're very closely related, is that we have people from multiple colors, religions, background, romantic partner choices, like all of those things. And we come together at these things and are most concerned about building a better life. And some people are very afraid of what's going on too, which totally makes sense when you watch what's going on right now. But what happens when we get together is we see that maybe it's not as bad as we thought it was. And we see that, more importantly, I can't control what they do.
Yeah.
And what I can control is expanding Hollow Roast Coffee, or Sam can book more gigs, or Kiri can build farm business.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you going to share your news with us today, Kiri, that you shared before? Before we went live, you told me you did something today.
Oh,
Not yet?
Not yet.
Okay, cool.
We'll talk about it after us.
That's why I asked you that way, so that it was not
I appreciate it.
Yes. Kiri will be telling you guys all sorts of interesting things at Self Reliance Festival in person.
Big life fun stuff coming up.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, somebody's here says homesteading is my end goal of prepping. Yeah, it's so preparedness for me is a mindset. It's a way of life. It actually, it's funny that it has that name because it's building a durable life for me. The more durable I am and the more durable the community around me is, the better off we all are. And then anything can happen and we are better prepared to deal with it. And a lot of people, I think, view from the outside that it's like beans, bullets, and guns, gun training or something. And it's like, it has its place, but there's a bigger, Sam, in the last, 5 years, you've had a lot of changes in your life, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Some of them have been hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Being a musician in the 2020 shutdowns was not easy for anybody because your income stream went from I'm making money to right?
Yeah, 2020 was a lull. It was like starting all over again. And I had worked so hard to build this up to the point where it was a full-time job to work for myself and play music. So yeah, that was difficult.
It's difficult. It's hard on you mentally. And then you're like, is this really a thing? Is it really not a thing? Is people are getting sick? Like that whole year, most of the musicians and actors and actresses who I know went through a very similar awakening during that time. Now, some didn't, but like the ones who come into our fold are like, man, I don't want to ever have to go through that again. And if we're not going to go through that again, like we need to be out there making it happen no matter what.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to Sam when he starts his venue and becomes the kingpin of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
Or wherever else.
Or wherever else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I think with all of the stuff that's going on now in our network, people are realizing it's more of a way of life rather than a stockpile of goods that will run out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for me, a lot of this is the people. Like it's just meeting all of these people and having a community is so important to me.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're coming around the end of the hour. Let's go once around the horn and just share any last thoughts you want. Make sure you tell people how to connect with you. We'll start with you, Sam.
Yeah, I have a website, samswansonmusic.com. I also play in a band called Slave to Servant. We played Self Reliance Festival back in October and released our album. And we just played Caleb House, an event for the Refuge Ruckus, which was fantastic. By the way, 2 of my New York community friends that I met at SRF came out to all the way to that event. Yeah. So
yeah, that looked like so much fun. I really hope I get to go next year.
So
I assume they're doing it again next year, but yeah.
Yeah, they said they're going full throttle. They're going to do it again. So.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you guys want to check out his stuff, go to samswansonmusic.com. And it's in his profile right here. Check it out. And if you want to drop some support to a musician, man, just saying, buy his stuff. Slave to Servant, actually, like, their music's pretty cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was. And then your whole band was fun to meet. So they were an interesting crowd at SRF. So I hope they come back sometime.
I've got some interesting footage. So.
Oh yeah, you guys, I would loved watching your shorts after that with all of like John's museum stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Kiri, what do you got for us?
Kiri with Thunderhill Farm, or at thunderhillfarm.com. I will be at Kentucky Sustainable Living next weekend, I believe it is. And then I will be at SRF, hopefully inside with everybody, a couple of weeks after that. You know, if you ever want to talk gardening, permaculture, having a homestead, or what to do with all of these damn raspberries, please just come and start a conversation with me.
I've never had a what?
Or if you want to talk about Prince, you know, both of us are Prince heads. So
it is the conversation that most happens.
Well, I mean, that is because, you know, that's why you camp next to each other, right?
Music.
Like, the universe made it so.
Oh, and meat. You guys had a plethora of meat.
Yeah, we're carnivores, and I was telling Nicole, Glenn has been cooking corned beef all week to bring to SRF and KSL and share with folks. So there'll be a lot of meat.
You were like, stay, like, yes, please.
That's the best way to go. Okay, guys, if you haven't, we're doing a free webinar in advance of Self Reliance Festival called Self Reliance Voices Learning from Legends. It starts Sunday, March 17th through 21st, and we'll be hearing from Joel Salatin, CJ Kilmer, Porterhouse, Toolman Tim, Sean Mills, me, a whole bunch of different people. They go for about an hour every night, and it's free. So sign up for that at selfreliancefestival.com/webinar. Every session has some giveaways, and we are highlighting different things every day, including some other events that are happening around the network. So definitely check that out. And thank you so much for joining our live stream. We'll see you next time.